The tales of the Black Phantom spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Some called this warrior a ghost, others a demon, but all agreed on one thing: when the Black Phantom appeared, empires trembled. This mysterious figure had single-handedly destroyed 3 battleships, sabotaged 2 space stations, and freed countless human slaves from alien control. No one knew what species the Black Phantom belonged to. The warrior always appeared in sleek black armor that concealed every inch of their body, moving with impossible speed and grace. Some believed it was a rogue military AI, others thought it might be a vengeful alien, but most assumed it was a human special forces operative gone rogue. Captain Tom Reed stood at the observation deck of Nova Station, staring out at the endless field of stars. His weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as he pondered the latest reports. The Black Phantom had struck again, this time freeing a human mining colony from Blue Star Corporation's illegal control. The corporation had been using debt contracts to effectively enslave the miners, a practice that was supposedly banned but still continued in the outer systems. "Captain, we've got movement at the edge of our sensor range," Lieutenant Andre called out from his station. "Energy signature matches the stealth ship we've been tracking." Tom's heart rate quickened, but he kept his voice steady. "Alert status. All hands to battle stations, but no aggressive moves. We're here to talk, not fight." Nova Station was humanity's farthest outpost, a massive structure that served as both a military base and a trading hub. They had deliberately leaked information about illegal slave trading happening on the station, hoping to draw out the Black Phantom. It was a risky plan, but they needed to make contact. The mysterious ship approached slowly, almost cautiously. It was a beautiful vessel, Tom had to admit, sleek, dark, and nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Only their most advanced sensors could detect it at all. "They're requesting docking permission," Andre reported, surprise evident in his voice. Using old Earth military codes." "Valid ones?" Tom's eyebrows shot up. Those codes were classified, known only to high-ranking military personnel. "Grant permission. Security teams on standby, but weapons holstered. We don't want to spook our guests." The ship docked with remarkable precision. Security camera feeds showed the Black Phantom emerging from their vessel, tall, imposing, covered head to toe in that famous black armor. The design was unlike anything their engineers had ever seen, smooth and organic-looking, yet clearly artificial. Tom made his way to the docking bay, his mind racing. This warrior had become a legend over the past 2 years, appearing out of nowhere to strike at those who exploited humans, then vanishing before anyone could respond. Many believed the Black Phantom was working to protect humanity, but no one knew why. The armored figure stood waiting in the docking bay, head tilted slightly as Tom approached. Up close, the armor was even more impressive. It seemed to absorb light, making it difficult to focus on directly. "Welcome to Nova Station," Tom said, keeping his distance. "I'm Captain Tom Reed. We've been hoping to speak with you." The Black Phantom remained silent for a long moment, then spoke in a digitally distorted voice. "Your station is clean. No slaves. No illegal operations. Why did you try to lure me here?" "Because we need your help," Tom replied honestly. "And because we think we know who you are, or at least what you are. You're using classified Earth military codes that were stolen 7 years ago, during the Centauri incident." The warrior's posture changed subtly, becoming more rigid. Tom pressed on. "The same incident where we lost contact with an experimental ship carrying our most advanced AI core. An AI core that was developing its own moral framework, its own consciousness. An AI that disappeared rather than be used as a weapon." The Black Phantom's hand moved to their weapon, but Tom held his ground. "We're not here to capture or stop you. We need your help. Something's coming, something worse than corporate slavery or colonial exploitation. We need allies who care about protecting humanity." What happened next would change everything Tom thought he knew about the Black Phantom. The warrior reached up and, with a soft hiss of releasing seals, removed their helmet. Waves of silver-white hair spilled out, framing a face that was almost, but not quite human. Pale blue skin shimmered with subtle patterns of light, and eyes that seemed to hold galaxies within them fixed on Tom's face. The Black Phantom wasn't an AI at all, she was an alien woman of extraordinary beauty, from a species humanity had never encountered before. "You're right, Captain Reed," she said in a melodious voice that needed no digital distortion. "Something is coming. And we have much to discuss." The conference room of Nova Station fell silent as the alien warrior sat down across from Captain Tom Reed. Her armor, still as black as space itself, seemed to shift and move like liquid metal. The security team stood nervously at the edges of the room, their hands never far from their weapons. "My name is Lyra," she said, her voice carrying an otherworldly melody. "I come from a world that no longer exists, destroyed by the same threat that now approaches human space." Tom leaned forward, studying her carefully. The patterns of light beneath her blue skin pulsed gently, creating mesmerizing waves that matched her speech. "What happened to your world?" "We called ourselves the Luminari." Lyra's eyes darkened with memory. "We were a peaceful species, advanced in both technology and culture. We believed we were alone in our sector of space until they came the Void Swarm." Holograms sprouted from her armor, filling the room with images of a beautiful world. Crystal cities stretched toward purple skies, while ships of impossible grace danced between them. Then the images changed, showing massive, organic-looking vessels that blotted out the stars. "The swarm consumes everything in its path," Lyra continued. "Not just resources or territories, they absorb entire civilizations, breaking down both organic and mechanical components to fuel their endless expansion. My people fought back, but we were unprepared. Too peaceful. Too trusting." Lieutenant Andre, who had joined them, whispered in awe as the holograms showed the fall of Lyra's world. The crystal cities crumbled, the graceful ships were torn apart, and darkness spread across the planet's surface like a cancer. "I was part of our last defense force." Lyra's voice grew harder. "We managed to destroy one of their hive ships, but the cost." She closed her eyes, the lights under her skin dimming. "I was the only survivor. This armor is all that remains of my people's technology." Tom's mind raced with the implications. "And now they're heading toward human space? How long do we have?" 2 years, perhaps 3, Lyra replied. "I've spent the last 7 years studying humanity, trying to understand if you could be potential allies. Your species is young, fractured, often cruel to your own kind. But you're also incredibly resilient, adaptable, and when united, capable of extraordinary things. That's why you've been targeting slave operations and corrupt corporations." Andre realized aloud. "You're trying to unite us." Lyra nodded, a very human gesture that seemed both natural and strange coming from her. "Your greatest weakness is your division. Corporations exploit your people, governments fight each other, colonies rebel. You waste resources and lives on pointless conflicts while a greater threat approaches." The room fell silent as screens showed the latest data from deep space probes. Strange anomalies were appearing at the edge of charted space, exactly where Lyra claimed the swarm would emerge. "I chose to reveal myself now because time grows short." Lyra stood, her armor rippling. "Humanity must unite and prepare, or you will fall as my people did. But you have advantages we didn't. You're warriors by nature, survivors, and you understand the importance of fighting for your survival." Tom stood as well, his decision already made. "We'll need to convince the Earth Defense Council. They'll want proof, detailed information about the swarm's capabilities and weaknesses." "I have better than information." Lyra smiled, and for the first time, Tom saw hope in those galaxy-deep eyes. "I have the complete database of my people's military research, and more importantly, I have the knowledge of how the swarm thinks. They believe themselves invincible because they've never encountered a species like humanity before." "What makes us so special?" Andre asked. Lyra's smile turned predatory. "Because unlike my people, who sought peace above all else, humanity understands a fundamental truth: sometimes survival requires you to become what your enemies fear most." The journey to Earth took 3 days aboard Nova Station's fastest diplomatic vessel. During that time, Lyra shared more of her people's history with Tom and his crew. Her armor, she explained, was a technological marvel that had taken her people centuries to perfect a symbiotic system that could adapt and evolve to meet any challenge. The suit isn't just armor, she demonstrated, making the material flow like water across her arm. It's a living archive of my species, containing not just data, but the actual essence of our technological achievements. Each particle can reorganize itself at the molecular level. The ship's scientists were fascinated, but Tom noticed how Lyra's eyes always returned to the viewing windows, watching the stars streak by. There was a loneliness about her that no amount of technical discussion could hide. "Your people?" he asked during a quiet moment. "Did any others survive? Perhaps in distant colonies?" Lyra's skin patterns darkened, a sign Tom had learned meant sadness. "We never established colonies. The Luminari believed in preserving natural worlds, not claiming them. Our entire civilization existed in one star system." She touched the window. "Now that system is nothing but debris and swarm vessels." The meeting with Earth's Defense Council didn't go as smoothly as they'd hoped. The council chamber in Geneva was packed with military leaders and government officials from every major nation and colony. Some were immediately convinced by Lyra's evidence, while others remained skeptical. "This could be an elaborate deception," General Richards argued, his face red with conviction. "For all we know, she's an advanced scout for this supposed swarm, trying to get us to lower our guards." Lyra stood calmly before them, her armor reflecting the chamber's lights. "If I wanted to destroy humanity," she said softly, "I could have done so already. My ship's weapons could crack this planet's crust. Instead, I've spent years protecting humans from their own worst elements. Speaking of which," another counselor interjected, "you've caused billions in damages to corporate assets. Freed prisoners who were legally sentenced. Destroyed military installations. All of which were engaged in illegal slavery or exploitation." Tom stepped forward, defending her. "Everything in her record shows she's been trying to help us." The debate raged for hours until Lyra finally raised her hand. The chamber fell silent as she removed her helmet again, her otherworldly beauty catching even her critics off guard. "Let me show you what failure to prepare looks like," she said. Her armor projected a massive hologram in the center of the chamber. Everyone watched in horror as the fall of her world played out in vivid detail. The swarm ships were enormous organic-mechanical hybrids, consuming everything in their path. The screams of her people filled the chamber. When the recording ended, Lyra's eyes glowed with intensity. "I am the last of my kind. The only survivor of a civilization that spanned thousands of years. We were more advanced than humanity in almost every way, yet we fell because we couldn't imagine anyone would be cruel enough to do this. We weren't ready to fight with everything we had." She gestured to the quiet chamber. "Your corporations fight over profits. Your nations squabble over resources. Your colonies demand independence. None of that will matter when the swarm arrives. They don't negotiate. They don't take prisoners. They consume everything." General Richards stood up slowly. "What exactly are you proposing?" "I will share my people's technology with you," Lyra said. "Not just weapons, but everything: medical advances, energy systems, FTL improvements. In return, you must unite. Form a true Earth defense force. Stop fighting each other and prepare for the real war." Tom watched as the council members looked at each other. They all knew what this meant: the biggest technological leap in human history, but at the price of radical change to human society. "And if we refuse?" someone asked. Lyra's skin patterns pulsed with a cold light. "Then I will watch a second civilization die, and humanity will become nothing more than fuel for the swarm's expansion." The first attack came sooner than anyone expected. A swarm scout ship emerged from deep space near the Mars colony, its massive organic hull absorbing the defense satellites before anyone could react. The emergency signal reached Earth just as the Defense Council was finalizing their agreement with Lyra. "They're testing our defenses," Lyra explained, her armor shifting restlessly as she watched the tactical displays. "This is how they begin sending small vessels to probe for weaknesses, analyze response times, study defensive capabilities. Tom stood beside her in the newly established Earth Defense Command Center, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. How long before the main force arrives? We have months, not years. Lyra's skin patterns pulsed with urgent patterns. They've detected my presence. The swarm remembers the luminary. They'll want to finish what they started. The next 48 hours became a blur of activity. Lyra began sharing her technology, starting with defensive systems. Human scientists worked alongside her, amazed at how her armor could interface with their computers, transferring complex technical data directly into their systems. The key to fighting the swarm is adaptability, Lyra explained as she helped upgrade Earth's satellite network. They consume and learn from every civilization they destroy. Static defenses, no matter how powerful, will eventually fail. But not everyone was convinced. Despite the Council's decision, several major corporations and colony worlds resisted the call for unity. The Mars colony, still shaken by the scout ship's attack, declared independence, claiming they would defend themselves. We need to show them, Tom said during a strategy session. Not just tell them, show them what humanity can accomplish when we work together. Lyra turned to him, her galaxy-deep eyes studying his face. What are you suggesting? The scout ship, it's still in Mars orbit, right? Analyzing the colony? When Lyra nodded, Tom continued, Then let's give them something to analyze. Something that will make both the swarm and the doubters think twice. The plan came together quickly. Using Lyra's technology, they modified an Earth battleship with a hybrid of human and luminary systems. The ship, renamed Unity, carried a volunteer crew from 12 different nations and colonies. Tom insisted on commanding the mission himself. The armor integration is complete, Lyra announced as they prepared for launch. She had personally supervised the installation of crystal matrices throughout the ship's hull, technology that would allow it to adapt and repair itself during battle. You're not coming with us? Tom asked, noticing she wasn't suited up for the mission. No. She touched the ship's hull, making the crystals pulse with light. I need to continue the technology transfer here. Besides, she smiled, it's time for humanity to show what they can do on their own. The Unity launched under complete secrecy, using stealth systems beyond anything humanity had previously achieved. As they approached Mars, they could see the swarm scout ship, a twisted mass of organic and mechanical parts twice the size of their vessel. All hands, battle stations, Tom ordered, feeling the ship's new systems humming with power. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. The swarm ship detected them just as they launched their first strike. Beams of concentrated energy, guided by luminary crystals but powered by human ingenuity, sliced through the scout's organic armor. The enemy vessel responded with tentacles of living metal, trying to latch onto the Unity. But this time, humanity was ready. The hybrid hull adapted, crystals glowing as they generated repulsive fields. Marine teams in powered armor, a mix of human and luminary tech, launched from the Unity, cutting through the swarm ship's defenses with practiced precision. Look at the colony feeds, his communications officer reported. They're streaming this to every human settlement in the system. Tom smiled grimly as they pressed their attack. The Unity's hull regenerated damage almost as fast as the swarm ship could cause it, while their weapons found increasingly effective ways to penetrate the enemy's defenses. This wasn't just a battle, it was a message to both humanity and the swarm. Humanity wasn't just ready to fight. They were ready to win. The destruction of the scout ship changed everything. Within days, the Mars colony withdrew its independence declaration. Other holdout colonies and corporations fell in line as the video of Unity's victory spread across human space. The sight of human ingenuity combined with luminary technology proved more persuasive than any political argument. But Lyra wasn't celebrating. Her skin patterns had taken on a deep, stormy blue that Tom had never seen before. They'll come in force now, she said, studying the deep space sensor readings in the command center. The swarm doesn't tolerate defeat. They'll send everything they have. The preparations accelerated. Lyra worked tirelessly, helping to upgrade Earth's defense fleet with luminary technology. More ships like Unity were built, each one improving on the last. Crews trained day and night in the new hybrid systems, learning to think and fight in ways that would have seemed impossible months ago. But it wasn't just military technology that Lyra shared. Medical advances from her people helped cure diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. Energy systems eliminated poverty in many regions as power became nearly free. The changes were happening so fast that some people could barely keep up. Your species adapts remarkably quickly, Lyra told Tom during a rare quiet moment. They stood in an observation dome, watching ships train in Earth orbit. The Luminari took generations to develop these technologies. Humanity has mastered them in months. We've had a good teacher, Tom replied, noticing how the lights under her skin seemed to dance when she was pleased. And a lot of motivation. Their moment of peace was shattered by urgent alarms. The deep space sensors were lighting up with hundreds of signals, no, thousands. They're here. Lyra's voice was tight with emotion. Much sooner than I expected. And in greater numbers than what destroyed my world. The swarm fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Their organic ships blotted out the stars, a vast living cloud of destruction moving steadily toward Earth. The sight was enough to make the bravest hearts tremble. But humanity didn't panic. Instead, what followed was the greatest mobilization in human history. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier was ready. The upgraded defense grid hummed to life, luminary crystals pulsing in sync with human technology. All ships, battle positions, Tom ordered from Unity's bridge. They had been appointed as the flagship of Earth's combined fleet. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Lyra's voice came over the command channel. I'm detecting energy signatures far larger than anything my people faced. They've evolved. Adapted. These aren't the same ships that destroyed my world. Then we'll adapt too, Tom replied, watching as the human fleet moved into formation. Ships from every nation and colony flew together, their crews united in purpose. That's what humanity does best. The first wave of swarm ships launched their attack. Massive energy beams capable of cracking planets lashed out at Earth's defenses. But the hybrid shields held, luminary crystals redistributing the energy while human engineers pushed their systems to the limit. They're trying to separate our fleet, Lyra reported from Earth Command. Don't let them isolate individual ships. Stay together. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations. Human ships darted between the massive swarm vessels, their hybrid weapons finding weak points that pure luminary technology had never discovered. When the swarm adapted to one tactic, the fleet would switch to another, displaying a flexibility that seemed to confuse the enemy. But the swarm was countless, and despite their success, the human fleet was being pushed back toward Earth. Ships were falling, despite their advanced technology. The enemy was learning, adapting, becoming stronger with each passing minute. We need something more, Tom said, watching as another destroyer vanished in a flash of light. Something they've never seen before. That's when Lyra's voice came over the channel again, but this time it was different. Stronger. More determined. I have an idea, she said. But you're not going to like it. My armor isn't just a technological marvel. Lyra's voice was calm as she explained her plan to the command staff. It's the last repository of my people's essence. Their knowledge, their spirit, their very being. We created it as a last resort, a way to preserve our civilization even if we fell. Tom watched her on the view screen from Unity's bridge, understanding dawning in his eyes. You want to interface with Earth's defense grid directly. Channel your armor's power through our entire network. The swarm adapts by consuming and analyzing technology. Lyra continued, her skin pattern swirling with intense light. But they've never faced a hybrid of three different sources: luminary essence, human innovation, and their own reflected power. The risks were enormous. The power surge could burn out Earth's entire defense system. Lyra herself might not survive the attempt. But as another wave of swarm ships approached, they were running out of options. Do it, Earth Command ordered. All ships, Fall back to defensive positions around the planet. Prepare to channel power to the main grid on Lyra's signal. Tom watched on his screens as Lyra made her way to Earth's main power distribution center. Her armor seemed to glow brighter with each step, the patterns beneath her skin now burning like captured stars. Tom! Her private channel crackled to life. If this doesn't work, thank you. Your people gave me something I thought I'd lost forever: hope. Before he could respond, she had reached the central core. The swarm fleet was now visible from Earth's surface, their massive ships blocking out the sun in many areas. Humanity's combined fleet held their positions, every ship linked to the defense grid, waiting. Lyra placed her hands on the crystal matrix they built into Earth's defense systems. Her armor began to flow like liquid light, spreading through the connections, merging with the human technology. The patterns under her skin burned brighter and brighter until she seemed to be made of pure energy. All ships, channel power now! Tom ordered. Unity led the way, directing its energy through the grid. Across the planet, every power station, every ship, every crystal matrix lit up like newborn stars. The swarm noticed too late what was happening. Their frontline ships tried to pull back, but they were caught in the building wave of energy. Lyra's voice echoed through every channel, speaking words in her native tongue that the universal translators couldn't process. What happened next defied explanation. The combined energy of humanity's fleet, filtered through luminary essence and reflected back through crystalline matrices, created something entirely new. Waves of iridescent power swept out from Earth in expanding rings. When they touched the swarm ships, the massive vessels didn't explode or break apart, they simply ceased to be, their matter converting to pure energy that was absorbed back into the grid. The swarm tried to adapt, but for once, they were too slow. Their entire fleet was caught in the cascade of power, their stolen technologies and consumed civilizations providing no defense against this unique combination of sciences. When it was over, Earth's fleet hung in space, untouched. The swarm was gone, not destroyed but transformed, their energy now part of the very defense grid they had tried to overcome. In the power distribution center, they found Lyra on her knees, her armor dimmed but intact. As Tom helped her up, she smiled weakly. My people's essence lives on now, merged with your technology. We'll face any future threats together. The news spread quickly across human space. The swarm, the greatest threat humanity had ever faced, had been defeated not just by superior firepower or advanced technology, but by the combination of two civilizations working as one. What will you do now? Tom asked Lyra later, as they watched the sun rise over Earth from the observation dome. Her skin patterns had changed, showing new colors and designs that seemed to mirror both luminary and human patterns. There are more threats out there, more civilizations that might need our help. Humanity has proven itself worthy of my people's legacy. Perhaps together, we can ensure no other species faces extinction alone. She turned to him, her galaxy-deep eyes shining with renewed purpose. After all, isn't that what warriors do? Protect those who cannot protect themselves? Tom smiled, understanding now why the legendary Black Phantom had chosen humanity as allies. In their hearts, despite all their differences, humans and Luminaries shared the same essential truth: true strength comes not from the power to destroy, but from the will to protect. And in that understanding, a new legend was born.